welcome back to Rating the List, where we review, discuss, and reimagine popular movie lists objectively. We're your hosts. I'm Jerry.
And I'm Brad, and on this episode we'll be exploring number 31 from Sports Illustrated's The Top 50 Sports Movies of All Time.
All right, and number 31 is Baseball, a Film, released in 1994, directed by Ken Burns and Lynn Novick. It's a documentary miniseries.
The American pastime told in vignettes that interweave with the history of America from the game's pastoral roots in the late 19th century to the end of the 20th century.
So, coming from somebody who's a baseball fan, but not huge baseball fan, I know stats and I know all that. This is actually a really good documentary, and I think it's kind of tells the history of baseball from its inception, and then it's a micro history.
It's a micro history of baseball, but it's also told with the macro history of America. So it's telling you about the things that are happening at the time in America, as well as what's happening within the game. So it's kind of it's a mix. So if you're unfamiliar with Ken Burns is one of the United States' preeminent documentarians. He's not really prolific. He makes very, very long form documentaries. So the two that I've seen are Baseball and also the one that he did on the Civil War.
I didn't know he did the one on the Civil War.
And these are, he's only done about 6 or 7 documentaries. It takes him years and years to get these things done. One, he's generally publicly funded a lot of times. I might be mistaken, but I think PBS funded Baseball. I'm almost 100% certain that they funded the Civil War. So, he has to rely on that to get funding. And then he does a extremely deep dive on the subject matter that he's making his film about. He's an incredible filmmaker. And the thing I really love about this movie is the eclectic group of people that he chooses to interview in this movie.
Interviews are exceptional.
Yeah, and it's people from all walks of life. You got, from, someone like Bob Costas, who is kind of... He's a sportscaster, but he's known a lot because of baseball. And then you've got Billy Crystal, lifelong Yankees fan,
huge fan.
And then you've got Mario Cuomo and Stephen Jay Gould, and there's just this huge list of people that he interviews, and it's just really, really interesting to get how people feel about baseball, in addition to, their kind of thoughts on America. And I love this film. Every year on the MLB Network, they play the parts of it. So the way that this story is told, it's told in innings. So the original film that was released in 1994 has 9 innings. And each one, if I'm remembering it right, are about an hour to an hour and a half, and they take place over roughly 15 to 20 years. So each inning, it starts in the real early, time of baseball, which is the late 19th century, and then it goes all the way to the modern era. And then additionally, which wasn't released in 1994, there is a 10th inning. And in the 10th inning, he discusses the steroid era, because it's such a big topic that happened in baseball after this. And it's really interesting to see him come back, because he interviews a lot of the same people. And you look at their interviews from when he first talked to them in the original film, and you see them in this movie, how much older they are. You can really see the time that this movie took to take place. So, you used to be able to rent this at video stores. I'm not sure if it's streaming anywhere, but you can always catch it every baseball off season. You can catch the whole thing in pieces. You just have to record it,
I
inning
don't
by
recommend
inning.
watching this in one sitting.
It's
It's very long.
It's like 13 hours long.
It's very, very long.
Mm-hmm.
It is interesting. It's kind of like a good background noise, like when you're doing something around the house or whatever, and you put it on and you hear it in the background. I've always kind of used it that way. Also, one thing I have to say about this documentary too is their use of sound. Like, it's kind of cool because it's like they show, as someone is being interviewed and they're speaking on the topic, they're showing film footage of you know, during that time, whatever time they're talking about, and you can hear the noise, like the sound of the bat, the kids playing, the kids yelling, and it's really well done.
Yeah, and one of the cool things about the history of baseball is baseball's always done a really, really good job of preserving its history.
Yeah.
I've never been there. My dad and my uncles got to go to Cooperstown and walk through, you know, the baseball museum, and you know, them talking about how well curated a museum it is. And then we were in Kansas City for a wedding years and years ago, and I really, really wanted to get into the Negro League Museum, and it was closed at the time because they were working on it, which is where that museum is located. Again, a microhistory within a microhistory is the Negro Leagues, which are covered pretty extensively in this documentary in one of the innings. I think it's inning 5. But, you know, baseball's always done a really good job of preserving its history, and there's all kinds of books about it. But in addition to that, you'll see a lot of early home movies. And the cool thing is, like, those early, I was telling her about this because she was kind of like wondering why the stuff was in color. Early home video cameras, even though the movies were in black and white, the home videos themselves were in color. So you get a lot of this like color footage of Babe Ruth and Ty Cobb and these guys, you know, from you know the late teens, 20s, and early 30s on home video in color. It's really, really incredible stuff, and there's a lot of footage of it, lots of it, and a lot of it makes its way into this film. And like, this had to have been the ultimate film comes down to 13 hours. How long was the original cut of this movie?
Oh yeah,
because you know every movie goes through multiple cuts. Like, what was the original one? Like, whoever edited this, like, that was a Herculean task.
Did this win any awards at the time?
I know he has been nominated for several things. I don't know if this one was up for the Academy Award or not. I'm not sure, but he is an award-winning documentarian. He's done a lot of really, really great work, and he does whatever subject matter he's doing at the time. He always does it justice. You get a very full picture of what he's doing. It's an incredible film. I love this movie. If you, again, don't watch it all in one sitting, but you know, if you have the time and if you have MLB Network on your cable or TV package or whatever, during the off season, record it. You know, you could record it and watch an inning here and there, and you know, over the course of a few weeks or a month or whatever. It's really great. It's really great.
It received Primetime Emmys.
Okay.
It received the Primetime Emmy for Outstanding Informational Series.
Because it wasn't theatrically released.
Yeah.
It was released on PBS, right?
TCA Award Outstanding and Special. Yeah.
I think most of his stuff doesn't tend to get theatrically released, so I think he's had at least one or two documentaries that have been theatrically released, and I think he has at least nominations from the Academy Award. But regardless, This guy makes incredible films, and this is no different. I love this movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Even if you have some time, just like watch one inning or
which is
miniseries.
kind of what we did. We didn't go back and watch all 9 innings.
We don't have time to watch 13 hours.
Yeah, we've got a lot of movies to
watch.
We've got a lot of movies to watch on this list. So we watched, part of one of the innings and just kind of get a feel for it. I've seen this, I've seen it start to finish at least once. I used to work at a video store, so I rented all the parts of it and watched it. And then, over the years, on MLB Network, I've watched bits and pieces of it enough.
That's how I've watched it.
I've probably seen it in total, probably, start to finish 4 times.
Yeah, I've seen bits and pieces of it, like certain episodes I've seen, on ESPN or MLB Network, whichever it plays on, and yeah, I've watched it off and on. It is very good.
It's really,
very,
really
very
good. I gave this one an 89. Jerry gave it an 83. The list score is 86.
Yeah, it's funny because like Brad said, it's the off season right now of baseball. So you could probably catch an episode or 2 on MLB Network now. They usually play it like during the day.
Yeah.
They always play like baseball movies and stuff during the day at this time.
Yeah.
So you could check it out there. If you've seen...
Yes,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, so every year between October and early March, so like as soon as the World Series ends and before spring training starts, MLB Network... doesn't have a whole lot of programming. They're not covering, anything active.
There's like Hot Stove.
There's Hot Stove and a few other shows, but they always play this. Every year they play this, and you should be able to catch every single inning, including that 10th inning, which I don't think is part of the original release of the film because it was released years later.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting kind of postscript to what happens. Really, really great film. If you love baseball, definitely recommend it. If you like American history, I definitely recommend it. If you're a fan of microhistory, I definitely recommend it.
All right. So if you have seen all of this or part of this documentary and you'd like to talk about it, please leave a comment. Also, we'd love it if you would subscribe to our channel. So please do that when you get a chance. If you'd like to talk to us directly, please do so at ratingthelist@gmail.com. But that's it for now. I'm Jerry.
I'm Brad.
And we're Rating the List. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.